and then the cops came. I told them I didn't want to live anymore and I was tired of it. And then they made me go to a mental institution because I admitted suicidal thoughts to them. So then I had to go there for 5 days, and which I thought it was a sign from God because my nurse's name was Lance. So I thought it was interesting. The gym has always been my hobby. I don't do any like super extracurricular activities like Pilates or yoga or anything. I don't go any knitting classes. I don't go in any book clubs. I have a very difficult time sitting and reading a book. I cannot do it. It's so hard for me, but I wish I could. But I don't know. But hanging out with friends. My family moved over here, so I hang out with my family a lot. I try to go to Topgolf, maybe the movies. Cooking, I like to cook at home, so a couple things like that.
What changed from last year? You said last year you didn't have any hobbies, interests.
No, not last year because all I was doing was just getting drunk and getting high and going to the club, waking up with a hangover, going to work, eating like shit. I quit with a lot of my workout routines. I just kind of just like let myself go and just get down this path. And I knew that it wasn't bad, but then I was like, I just don't know how to get out of it. This is my routine, but I don't know how to get out of this routine. So I was not attractive to any man. There was no man that would want to come and see a girl who's just stripping all the time, bartending all the time, but then not even doing anything well for herself, not going to church or not going to do hobbies, not spending time with family or friends or going to do anything really internally healing for herself. Just person just drinking and doing coke all the time.
But what was keeping you in that spot?
Just comfortability. I think after Lance died, I went down this really bad path. And then when things started to get better for me and I was able to surpass it and not get over it, but get through it. But then I'd already formed so many bad habits and I went down this rabbit hole and it was just so hard to get myself out of my mess that I created. I just felt like stuck. It was like a cavity that is when you kept ignoring it, it just got bigger and bigger, but you don't even notice it's getting bigger until just like, boom, it's too late. But we had talked about it earlier on the phone that we all have like this wake up call where we're kind of like, the God or the world is teaching you a lesson, and if you don't learn it, it'll come and try to give you that same lesson. Mm-hmm. That happened for me in August 2024. I was working at Choctaw and I was driving and I hadn't paid that car payment yet. I just started a new job. I couldn't pay my phone bill. My phone service just got shut off that morning. And then this older man hit me. He like T-boned me, and then he T-boned my car, and I didn't want to be late for my new job, so I was going to try just to ignore it and just do the hit. Well, he hit and run me, but I was just going to go to work because I didn't have time to deal with it. Couldn't drive the car, couldn't call for help because I had no phone service, couldn't call my job. I just felt stuck, and then I got out of that car, and I just went. This man's probably 70 years old, mind you. He should not be driving. I popped off on him. I yelled at him. I told him I was going to kick his ass. I told him to get a shotgun to shoot me because I've had enough. I just had hit a total moment, and then the cops came. I told them I didn't want to live anymore and I was tired of it, and then they made me go to a mental institution because I admitted suicidal thoughts to them. So then I had to go there for 5 days, and which I thought it was a sign from God because my nurse's name was Lance. So I thought it was interesting. So then they got me out. They were going to get me on antidepressants, told me to go check in with like a therapist and all that great stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do that. The next week I was doing coke and drinking and doing the same shit I'd done before.
Yeah.
So it didn't even help. And then I got into a relationship. My bad habits made him break up with me. And then just all those bad habits. So that wasn't even a learning lesson. I literally went to a mental institute for 5 days and had no phone, nothing but my own thoughts, and thought I would do better. But then as soon as I got out, it went right back. So it went right back to it. So it didn't even help.
Well, that's the neural pathways that were already built, and we know that the brain loves to do the simplest, most repetitive thing. It's really hard to actively change to stop the ball rolling down the hill. But there are very strong people that I come across in life, such as yourself, who are not scared to go, okay, whoa, I'm going to stop the ball. Even though it's like causes mass chaos and disruption to stop the ball, it's almost easier to let it keep going for everyone else. But when you stop the ball, everyone else has to now also be navigating this with you because they're in your immediate environment, And a lot of the times I feel like sometimes these people become casualties when we are stopping the ball from rolling down the hill. But yeah, I find that that's something that I admire in you, is that it's like you recognize that there was something and you were looking for the signs, you just weren't quite ready yet. But there's nothing wrong with what you did. You did what your brain designed
It just didn't
to
care.
do. It was like, this is what we know, this is easiest.
Mm-hmm.
And unless you were actively trying to be like, we're not going to do this today, but it's just, I feel like you were. When did Lance pass away?
March 2023. So that whole year was really bad. But then that following year, 2024, was even worse. Because I think maybe the realization hit, and then my bad habits kind of just built up. And then my apartment didn't want to renew to me. I lived with a friend for 6 months. My car got impounded. Credit cards maxed out. I used my $25,000 savings. I was just focusing on getting drunk and going to the parties all the time. It was just bad, but I knew that it was bad, but I wasn't trying to fix it.
So you didn't realize it was grief, or did you realize it was
Oh, I
grief?
knew. I was like, oh yeah, because this is all because it started with that, because he was my moral compass, and now there's no one holding me accountable. I didn't have a husband, I didn't have children, I didn't have family here, so the only person my bad habits affected was me. So when I took myself home every night, the only person I disappointed was myself. Being too hungover to go to work affects money in my pocket, but the only person it affected was me. It didn't affect anybody else.
Yeah.
So it's a little easier to stay in your habits when you don't have anyone else around you that really is you're coming home to at night.
Yeah.
Or because I didn't have anybody around, so just
It's
friends.
still pretty easy to stay in these bad habits. I've learned the last several years that I can't rely on my children and my husband to keep me in my moral compass or my good habits, because they all leave. They
I hope they're not watching
this. No, yeah, they all grow up, and it was like I had 5 little moral compasses, and then one goes away, the second gets married, the third goes away, and then my first, like my baby, he left, and I was going, I still have one, but she's gonna leave, and then what am I now? I'm a 55-year-old like diabolical lady that is gonna try to figure it out now. And I was like, no, bitch, you gotta get this together like sooner than later. Once I started to realize that I can't like sustain on just being a good human because I have children, and I don't mean a good human, I mean walking the good line, being in the house, doing the laundry, being in PTA and doing all that. Like you can't, that's only sustainable with another person for so long. So I've been looking for that inside myself as of late. But yeah, when you said that Lance was your a bit of a moral compass.
Yeah, he was.
I felt that's the same where I was in that dilemma like 2 years ago going, I have been doing my life for the kids, and I've kind of lost that in myself, and I've got to hone it back into what's important to me.
I don't think it's selfish that you also want to be present for yourself too.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't have any children, but my mom has 5 from my dad, and she's 52 now, and she had her first kid at 23. Me and my brother is still 13 years old, and she's still a mom, and she spent her entire life being a mom. And I'm like, when do you ever put yourself first? You're not buying yourself a pair of shoes first. You're not taking a trip, buying yourself makeup, or going on a date with a couple guys and having romance for yourself. And I think it's good to be a mom, be present, but I think it's okay to also be selfish sometimes if you're not hurting anybody.
I've watched a lot of women before me do this, and it's like, okay, no, I want to start to find this little pocket of myself, which is the podcast, something that I can find pride in, and something that makes me feel good and makes me feel like an individual as well, but anyway, that was a fun little side.
But you need that when you become married, or you have a boyfriend, or you have children, you kind of like form your life with them, and you kind of like lose that individuality. It's important to be able to keep that too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.